What's up guys, Jeff Cavalier, ATHLEAN-X.com, kicking off a new series here today. We're talking about red flags, and today we're covering 5 red flags that your glutes are pretty weak. Matter of fact, damn weak, and they need to do something about it. To make sure that you don't miss this or any other video in this series, you gotta get off your ass and make sure you hit subscribe and turn on the notifications as well so you never miss a video from this channel. Guys, one by one I'm gonna knock out 5 things that you should be able to do if you have adequate strength in your glutes, and if you do not, then you're gonna need to do something about it. Now first off, you might be asking yourself, why should I even care? Besides the fact that most of us would probably like to look good from behind, I am telling you that the glutes are designed to be the most powerful muscles in your entire body, and ironically, they tend to be the weakest because we don't train them effectively. Squats, deadlifts, they're not doing enough, guys. It's a single plane motion. You're working the sagittal plane, and our glutes are 3-dimensional and work in all 3 planes. We need to make sure that we're addressing them individually. If you don't, you're gonna have bad posture. You could have anterior pelvic tilt. We made a whole video on this before. You could have a weakness in your big lifts. You're not lifting nearly as much as you could on your deadlift and squat because of a weakness in your glutes. You're not gaining as much power or speed if you're an athlete. Everything comes down to the powerhouse of your entire body, your center of mass, and it's all centered right around your pelvis, and you need to focus on this. So let's get going. All right, so let's look for that first red flag here. It's actually really simple to do. You get down on the floor, no equipment required, okay? You come down to the ground, hands and knees. Now there's a 2-part sequence here. You're not out of the woods if you can do the first one. What you want to do is you want to get your leg back behind you, start with either one, and you want your knee straight, okay? And you don't want to be cheating it and rolling the pelvis out. You want to try to keep that parallel to the floor. So from here, you're going to squeeze your leg up towards the ceiling by activating the glute, hopefully, right? So that means that you should be able to feel this intense contraction right here in this cheek. And if you don't, I'm already starting to get a little bit concerned because we need to know that you have that mind muscle control over the glute. And these small motions are what are going to reveal whether you do or you don't. But let's say you do there. You're not out of the woods. What you need to do now is you need to bend the knee and repeat the same procedure, because by bending the knee here, we're actually shortening the hamstring. We're contracting the hamstring a little bit, meaning we're taking its contribution out of the equation, right? Because the hamstring is capable of extending the hip as well as flexing the knee. So when we have this here, now we go and we try to lift up towards the ceiling. Can you still do that, and can you still feel any contraction in the glute? A lot of us will find that we lose that ability. We don't feel it squeezing anymore, right? We don't feel that cramping in here. And that means that your hamstrings were doing more of the work and the glutes aren't as strong as you think they are, which means they're going to need work. You want to make sure you test this on both sides because there can always be a discrepancy. As a matter of fact, it's a common occurrence to have a discrepancy in your strength from right side to left. Okay, our next red flag here actually just requires a couple of dumbbells and an exercise you've probably done a whole lot of reps of, and that's the lunge. Now, take whatever you use on, let's say, a 12 to 15 rep lunge. Okay, so I just have 25 pounds in each hand here. Now remember, when you lunge out, you're not just trying to see whether you can get out here and then come back up to the top. You want to be able to do that with stability through your pelvis, meaning you don't want a lot of shakiness or wobbling through the pelvis, because you want to know that your glutes are actually doing their job. Because remember, the muscles of the glutes are not single plane. I said that in the beginning. They actually control motion in all 3 planes. In this case, we're looking for their ability to control the frontal plane. So you take whatever that weight is, 25 pounds in each hand, combine it for 50, now take a 50-pound dumbbell, and here's the test. You hold it on one side only. Okay, so I have it on my left side. I'm going to step out with the opposite leg. As I step out here, the opposite leg down. What I'm looking for is that same stability, because I got a lot of weight over here that's going to probably make this hip kick out if the glutes are weak on this side. So you want to make sure that you can get out here with that double weight, straight down and straight back, nice and controlled for about 3 to 4 reps, and back nice and controlled, okay? You're not looking, you want to make sure you're not doing that, falling to that side and letting that hip kick out on you. Remember, test both sides here again. Okay, number 3 is another one we could do down here on the ground, no equipment at all. Again, red flag, right? You gotta make sure we at least reveal these so we know what we're dealing with. I want you to get down on the ground, lay on your back, we're gonna perform a bridge, okay? So when you do the bridge with both feet on the ground and lift your hips up as high as you can. Now a lot of people will shortchange the bridge, right? They stop here. That's not full hip extension. To get the full hip extension, you got to lift until you basically have now drawn a straight line between your quads and your torso, right? If you're going to roll something, it would roll right down. It's not going to get caught in the middle here. So some people right there are going to already start to feel cramping. It's where you feel the cramping that actually is one of the biggest problems. If you're feeling cramping in the hamstrings at all, you're in trouble, okay? But it's going to get worse, because what I want you to do is I want you now in this position, we're going to test the right side. You're going to get right there and then lift the left leg off the ground. Okay, two things you're looking for. If I lift the left leg off the ground, do I immediately start to drop here? Do I start to sag? If you do, it's because you don't have strong enough glutes on this side. We should all be able to perform a single leg bridge, okay, with our own body weight. But if you start to drop, that's sign number one. Number two, you'll also start to maybe rotate. Same deal, weakness in the glute. But more importantly, if when you get in that position here and you lift, if you even can stay up, but you start getting cramping in this hamstring, then you have a sign here again that your glutes are weak. Why? Because your glutes are what should be driving hip extension, not your hamstrings. Although they are capable of contributing to hip extension, that's not their main focus. So if they start cramping, that means they're trying to do as much of the work as possible because the glutes don't want to do the work. That's a great sign to you that says, hey, wake up, you lazy ass, literally, and start doing some of the work, and don't make me the hamstring do everything that you're supposed to be doing. It's a great sign, guys. Remember, test both sides, right and left, to find out where you stand. Okay, number 4, and this is one of those big red flags that's going to remind you every single day that there's something wrong. The thing is, you usually don't understand that the source is your glutes once again, and that's low back pain. Or in this case, I like to call it pseudo-low back pain. So I actually made a whole video on this. I'm going to show you what it looks like here, and I'll link it down in the description below. You want to watch that if you have what I'm showing you here, because I promise you it's going to fix it. And even as I promised in that video, instantly, you're going to feel instant relief. But watch. This is what we're talking about. This area right here, we're going to get a little bit naughty here, right? But we got, basically, if I were to rub my hand over the upper portion of my glutes, I would feel a bone right here, okay? It's in my pelvis. And if you can just roll your fingers just to the outside of that bone, so roll it over until it sits on the outside, right in here. If you have pain right in that spot, and when you press it, it actually can radiate around down your leg a little bit, up into your low back, and it starts to feel like, wow, that is exactly where I can pinpoint where that is. And my friend, you've got some issues with your glute medius, and likely it is a really, really weak, and that's what's causing your pain. So what you need to do is watch the video I just showed you, because I'm going to show you in there exactly how to treat that. But for now, the presence of this pain alone in this pinpoint spot on either the right side or the left side is enough to tell me that I know where the source of your issues are. It is your glute medius, and it's weak, and you need to fix it. That video will actually help you to do that. All right, our 5th and final red flag is actually an ab exercise. Again, you guys have got to see this by now, that all these muscles are connected, especially if they have common attachments to the pelvis. Of course, one's going to influence the other. We know that the abs are controlling the pelvis, so in the glutes as well. So why are they not impacting each other? And this is the thing. We're going to jump to one of the hardest exercises there are when it comes to the abs, and that's the dragon flag. But don't worry. You may not be able to do the dragon flag, but even if you could do some version of it, you're going to see that it's probably your glutes that are causing the problem, less about your overall ab strength. So when we get in this position here, you grab onto something you can actually anchor your body to upper body wise, and then you go in and you start to do your dragon flag, which is going to be this, right up here, and then drop it down. Right under control. So now, where's the weakness? I'm going to tell you that your abs are a hell of a lot stronger than you think they are. The problem is your glutes. If you can't perform this exercise, do this instead. See how strong your glutes really are by focusing on how much they're activated during that exercise. So when I come out, what's happening is people's hips are dropping here. So the abs have to take on a lot more of the work because the hips and the glutes are not contracted. If I then instead squeeze into extension, all of a sudden my abs become a lot stronger here to be able to hold that position. Now if you can't start there, it's the same principle. It applies at just a higher angle. So instead of having my legs out, beginners can actually just be up here and see how much they can hold with their abs. But remember, I have sunken hips here. What I have to do is squeeze into full extension and stay there. So you're testing your ability. If you just can't get your hips up and you can't keep them up, you don't have enough hip extension strength, and that's just against the force of gravity. Imagine what happens when you actually start to apply weighted exercises where they need to be like that, or you try to get under a barbell hip thrust, and you don't have nearly the strength in your glutes to do them properly. Guys, there are a lot of red flags when it comes to a lot of different muscle groups that you have, but none probably more overlooked than your glutes. They're geared to be powerhouses. They're probably not doing anywhere near the full capacity of what they're capable of for you, and that's a problem, and we need to fix it. So guys, if you're looking for a program that puts the science back in strength, step by step, we show you how to do these things because it all matters. All of our programs are available over at ATHLEAN-X.com. In the meantime, if you found the video helpful, leave your comments and thumbs up below. Remember, if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on those notifications. You need to do both steps in order to get notified every time we run a new video. All right, guys, see you soon.